Thanks for joining us today on News Channel Nebraska. My name is Peter Rice, and here's a look at today's top stories. No snow, no problem. The state's top snowplow drivers are putting their skills to the test in a unique summer showdown. The best snowplow drivers from across Nebraska are convening in Kearney to compete for a spot in a national championship. The Snowplow Rodeo is an obstacle course that simulates tasks and situations which snowplow drivers often deal with on the roads. Leading up to the event, local competitions were held in each of Nebraska Department of Transportation's 8 districts, where the top 2 teams from each district advanced to Kearney.
Obviously, there's no snow on the ground today, but the obstacles are very tight, meaning they have to have very tight, precise movements. They have to be very careful not to hit the barrels. They have to back up as if they were loading in the yard, and so this is a very good simulation.
Winners will advance to a national competition in Colorado this fall, competing against operators from all across the country. Tyrell Yeager and Chad Schall of Valentine are the reigning back-to-back state champions of the Snowplow Rodeo.
We're hoping third time's a charm. If we can get there again, maybe we'll win it this year, but there's a lot of people down there and there's a lot of strong competition down there, and it's really neat. I mean, they have a lot of cool stuff down there.
We have a lot of fun too when we're doing it.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We're laughing while we're in the truck, and
yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd year the competition has been held at the Nebraska Safety Center in Kearney. NDOT officials say the competition also serves as an important reminder of what it takes to keep our roads safe each winter. Jim Paulson and Justin Polk from Chapel in District 5 were this year's victors. Second place went to Ryan Kozal and John Saxton of Gordon, also from District 5. Getting officials to stick around is becoming increasingly difficult across the nation. The NSAA finding 80% of sports officials are leaving within 3 years, according to a 2022 survey. Poor sportsmanship is considered the most common reason. Now let's go to a recent game of 12-year-olds where there was a close play on a foul ball.
No, that's a foul ball. That's a foul ball. I'm talking to the I don't care. It's a foul ball. I got it. That foul? You ain't foul when he touched it. He touched it. He's out of the freaking foul line. Sit down. You sit down. I got you in bed. No. That I will not.
The umpire calling it a fair ball, touched by the defensive player in the field of play, ruling the runner out by force. The coach calmly disagreed, and a parent or fan was a little more upset with their opinion, and well, it didn't stop there.
What? It's not there, it's not there. Nice try, Chase. It's not there, it's not there. You're gone.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
boys. Hey. That's game.
Let's go.
The umpire ejected the pitcher and called the game. While viewing what transpired between innings, there was a meeting between the pitcher and a coach. Then they began to warm up the pitcher heading into the bottom of the 4th, and the catcher caught every single throw, including those outside of the zone. Further investigation reveals it was the 71st pitch of the night, and it was the very first play after the close call on a fair or foul ball. Searching for context of what may have been said or transpired, News Channel Nebraska reached out to the umpire and coach to share their sides of the story. The umpire said this was the only time during the game the catcher moved in this fashion when a pitch came into the zone. Tune in to NCN on Sunday for an interview with the umpire. A bill looking to place a little more religion into Nebraska public schools did not make it off the debate floor Wednesday. A proposal by Senator Lauren Lippincott would, in part, give students the opportunity to leave during regular school hours for religious classes and learning somewhere off of school grounds. It was paired with another bill to help educators find more long-term substitutions for teachers to take time off during some life events, like the birth of a child, a wedding, or a death, for example. The religious reasoning for leaving school was voted to be removed, citing the logistics of allowing it for some students while also being concerned of the boundaries between church and state. While the other half of the proposal for substitutes was unsuccessfully voted out, the full package was eventually voted down. A different education bill was passed over on Wednesday, and new amendments were filed to it today, so lawmakers seem poised to revisit portions of it with only a few days remaining in the session. In a late audible after not passing the final vote, the bill looking to change the pay scales in Nebraska resurfaces. A motion by Senator Bo Ballard to reconsider the vote taken on LB 258 was voted on yesterday, with two senators changing their previous vote. Ballard originally voted against the bill, and Senator Tony Sorrentino did not vote on May 14th. Those two have since flipped, giving lawmakers 33 votes. In order to alter a voter-approved measure, they need to be a two-thirds majority from state senators. The minimum wage is set to change to $15 an hour in Nebraska beginning in January, and then get adjusted annually each year based on the Midwest Consumer Price Index. Senator Jane Raybould's legislation looks to change it to 1 3/4% annually. More notable is the pay for teens, setting their minimum wage at $13.50 and a training wage for new employees under 20 to the same amount. Governor Jim Pillen finalizing a line-item veto on the Nebraska budget bill passed by lawmakers late Wednesday night. While the governor says he applauds the legislative body for getting a budget to address a shortfall reported to be over $400 million, he did not agree with it in full. Pillen removing 4 line items from the 2-year cycle of spending. He will not be allowing an $18 million to be used for upgrades at Lake Mac, additional funding for public health departments, bringing it back to pre-pandemic levels. The Nebraska Supreme Court will only get a fiscal increase equal to the University of Nebraska for each of the next 2 years, a reduction of over $4.1 million in government spending. Lastly, the increases to the fire marshal salary and health insurance premiums from the general fund were scratched. The Nebraska legislature is in full agreement of Kearney Police Chief Brian Waugh to be the next superintendent of the Nebraska State Patrol. Chief Waugh will remove his KBD uniform and replace it with the State Patrol one starting on Monday, June 2nd. He served as the leader of the Kearney Police Department since early 2019 and replaces Colonel John Bolduc, who was retired from the Nebraska State Patrol at the age of 60 under Nebraska state law. Waugh is 52 years old, and as the 19th superintendent of the patrol, he has less than 8 years before he will also have to step aside from the post. The House of Representatives recently voted to pass President Donald Trump's sweeping tax and spending cuts bill. It's a major win for the president and also Speaker Mike Johnson after GOP leaders won over key holdouts. Julia Benbrook is at the White House.
House Republicans narrowly passed the massive tax and spending cuts package Thursday morning, marking a big win for President Donald Trump and his so-called Big Beautiful Bill.
The bill is passed.
This came after several days of chaos and intense negotiations, and there were some changes made. Prior to the vote, House Republicans unveiled a slate of changes to the bill in an effort to win over holdouts in the party. Those changes included implementing new work requirements for Medicaid earlier and phasing out Biden-era energy tax credits sooner than originally planned, among other provisions. Now, all eyes turn to the Senate. Here's House Speaker Mike Johnson's message to Republicans in that chamber.
I encourage them to remember that we have a very delicate equilibrium that we reached on here. A lot of work went into this to find exactly the right balance. And you all saw how perilous that was over the last week as it developed. And I encourage our Senate colleagues to think of this as a one-team effort.
This massive piece of legislation addresses several of Trump's campaign promises, such as extending his 2017 tax breaks and eliminating taxes at least until 2028 on tips and overtime pay. It also devotes billions to border security, allowing for a major crackdown on immigration. Now, how much of the House's version will survive the Senate GOP is unclear, but they are under a lot of pressure to move quickly. The stated goal is to get this bill to the president's desk for a signature by July 4th. Reporting at the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
Today is National Lucky Penny Day, and the timing of yesterday's news was not so lucky for those copper coins. The United States Treasury said it's phasing out production of the penny and will soon stop putting them into circulation. A Treasury spokesperson said the government made its final order of penny blanks this month. The U.S. Mint will continue to manufacture pennies only as long as inventory of penny banks can exist. Consumers with pennies will still be able to use them, but without new pennies moving into circulation, businesses that complete cash transactions will have to begin rounding up or down to the nearest nickel. In February, Trump said minting pennies is wasteful because making a penny costs more than the value of the coin, so he ordered the U.S. Mint to stop making them. Pennies cost more than 3 cents each to produce. The Mint produced more than 3 billion pennies in 2024. New escalation in the battle between the Trump administration and the country's oldest university. Now, the federal government is telling Harvard it has to kick out thousands of students.
This is something that cannot be done in the United States.
Harvard University professor Ryan Enos reacting to the Trump administration's move to revoke Harvard's ability to enroll international students.
I was shocked, like were so many of my colleagues.
The Department of Homeland Security telling the elite institution it, quote, can no longer enroll foreign students and existing foreign students must transfer or lose their legal status. The university swiftly condemned the move as unlawful, referring to it as retaliatory action. In ordering the termination of Harvard's Student and Exchange Visitor Program certification, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem cited the university's refusal to turn over the conduct records of foreign students requested by the DHS last month. On social media, Noem also accused Harvard of, quote, fostering violence, anti-Semitism, and coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party on its campus.
I don't think it's the context that any reasonable person thinks is going on at Harvard. It's the Trump administration trying to come up with reasons to attack an institution it doesn't like politically.
The development could impact more than a quarter of Harvard's student body. Records show more than 6,700 international students made up roughly 27% of its enrollment in the 2024-2025 academic year. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Nebraska women's basketball sensation Britt Prince is lighting up the court and teaming up with Midwest Bank and giving fans a chance to meet their idol, in addition to snap photos, grab autographs, and hear about her vision both on and off the court.
If they watch me play, I hope that they know that I'm a hard worker and I'm humble and care a lot about winning. Like, that's my most important thing. I hate to lose, and then I hope I'm a good role model to younger girls, and they look up to me and just trying to be a good person for them.
Bearcats are back-to-back state track and field champions in Class A. It's the 18th team title for Kearney High School, Fremont finishing second with 66 points. Lincoln Southeast and North Star scoring 58. An extremely tight race in the Class A girls finish, Papio South edging Lincoln Southwest and Kearney with 88, 87, and 86 respectively. Southwest jumping the Bearcats, winning the 4x4, and the Titans finishing one spot behind Kearney in the final race. They went 1-3-4. Waverly winning it all for the second time in 3 years for Class B boys. The Vikings scoring 73 with Gretna East notching 64. Those programs were the class of the field. Bennington winning the first state track and field meet in program history. The Badgers getting 80 points to top the defending champions from Waverly. Norris and Seward round out the top four. A somber tradition is taking place at Arlington National Cemetery, where they're honoring America's fallen heroes.
This tradition we're doing here today is something called Flags In, where we place an American flag in front of every grave in Arlington National Cemetery for over 400,000 service members and their families.
It kind of makes me think about how small of a kind of a blip in time my career has been. As vast as it may seem, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, but then you come out here and you see the endless amount of years and the wars and conflicts that we have been in and how many soldiers we lost over the time. So it kind of makes you feel a little smaller, but then it really gets back to, like, I am making a very good difference within the military. I've been able to train many soldiers, but I'm standing obviously on the shoulders of giants, as we're kind of walking through here. So it's big.
You know, we look at this and almost kind of take it for granted, but these people have laid down their lives. Their families have been there to support, and so this is just, you know, a day where we can come out and just really honor them. So to me, it's a privilege to be able to take the time out and really reflect.
It's something that everyone takes very seriously, just the knowledge that we're often the last touch point that families will have with the military as they bury their loved one. And I think we take that responsibility very seriously to give it the correct send-off and the proper send-off to our comrade in arms. I have one in particular that stands out, a man that is buried in Arlington Cemetery. His name was Captain John Tinsley. So he was my platoon leader back when I was a younger soldier here in the early 2000s. And I still tell people to this day that he is not only one of the finest leaders and soldiers I've ever met, but just one of the finest human beings I've ever met. I always tell people that even though now I'm older than he was then, that he is still somebody I very much look up to. Sorry, get emotional thinking about it, but he was the type of leader that you didn't want to let down, not one that you were necessarily afraid of or anything like that. And that's always somebody that I aspired to be and that I hope I've been for other people.
They didn't just give us a contract. They didn't just give us more and more years and time away from their family. They sacrificed the ultimate task, and that is giving their life for our country. So it means a lot for me, especially as a junior leader coming up in the Army, right? Because I one day may be asked to do the same thing. Taking
a moment out of our day to almost honor those that have sacrificed for us. I know for me, we wake up every day and we have freedom and we have some of the luxuries because these very same people did in fact sacrifice and put their lives on the line. And so I'm thankful and grateful, and I think as Americans we should just really take the time to honor on this special day.
Be sure to follow News Channel Nebraska on all of our social media channels. Follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram to keep up with news, weather, and sports across the entire state. My name is Peter Rice. Have a wonderful holiday weekend.